Hey there, and welcome to Crushing with Abby O. I'm your host, Abby O'Sullivan. This podcast is inspired by over 10 years in the beauty industry and the stories shared between a beauty professional and her clients. The type of girl talk that only happens behind closed doors or in the chair. Along with hilarious stories based on real life and the dating world, I'll be dishing out all of the secrets on self-care, health, and fitness. As a longtime lash extension artist turned health and fitness coach, I'm passionate about helping you view healthcare as self-care through nutrition, lifestyle, mindset, movement, stress management, and more. So grab a drink and a snack and come join me for a laugh. Welcome back, crushers. I hope that you're absolutely crushing your day and your week so far. Today we are talking about big shift energy. You know, I like a good play on words. So I have been experiencing a shift in my life. This is not the first time that I have experienced this. And sometimes these things are a little less noticeable than other times. This time it feels big. Like maybe I'm not sure if I can handle it big. Inappropriate, but also appropriate jokes. So today I'm going to share two stories that have to do with listening to that voice, that nudge that you hear, and also just listening to your body. All of this has to do with this big shift that I'm feeling. So I've learned in small ways and big ways, very big ways, to listen to my gut, to my intuition. And it is a practice, much like everything in life. It's a practice. Even recently, I've had an experience where the signs, and there were so many, like I'm almost embarrassed, right? But we can learn from these things. There were so many signs that this particular program that I joined was not for me. It was not what I thought it would be. The values that I saw and the character, the personality, that like the values, the morals, and the type of characteristics displayed were actually not something that I agreed with on a personal level, but yet I ignored that in the name of business, thinking, like, let's separate the two a little bit. Well, actually, you should take that into account when you're going to do business with someone, right? That seems obvious. But regardless, I got caught up in the energy. I got caught up in the dream. I got caught up in what was being served to me in that moment. And I made a very big decision. Like within the first month, I felt a lot of resistance. And I thought that it was just because it was new. I'm being challenged, I just need to step up. I just need to step it up. And I was being challenged, just not for the outcome that I thought. I ended up choosing a different opportunity to dive in to figure out what this discomfort was, where it was coming from. Why was I feeling so triggered? And for me, this was really life-changing. So these are two separate things that I'm talking about here. This second program that I joined was for my personal development, and I invested in my own healing. And without that, I am not sure that I wouldn't be curled up in a ball crying in bed, because that was my before. That's what was happening to me before I was made aware that, well, I was already aware that you could, figure out what was holding you back. I just didn't really know how to go about it. I didn't really know the first step. And I got plugged into someone who I'm so thankful that I don't know, the universe works in really not mysterious ways sometimes. We like to think it's mysterious, but I feel like it was exactly what I needed at the time. And it was completely It seemed so random that she was brought to my attention. And I worked with this coach and was able to heal some of the things, some of the wounds, some of the pain that was very deep and that was now coming up for me and this other business program. But regardless, months passed in this business program and I still just felt off. I'll tell you, when things started to become clear that this program just wasn't going to work for me, it wasn't that I couldn't work for it. It just wasn't working for me. I wasn't able to serve in the way that I wanted to, and I couldn't figure out how to make that happen with what I was being given. I just felt there's something missing here. And I was still in denial. Like, how could I have been so blind? It was literally right in front of my face. Like, it was basically told to me, but I was so caught up in that energy and that dream and thinking, like, this person, this program can help me do whatever it is that I need to do. They will see me and they will help me put forth what I want to into this world. I was mad that I had not seen that was not true. And I invested a lot. I invested a lot of money, mental energy, time, and emotions. And for what? For someone to try to put in a box because that's all they know. And not because that's where I belong. Let me tell you that you do not belong in a box. You don't have to fit into one. You don't have to fit anyone else's mold. You don't deserve comparison. You don't have to have the same this or the same that or the same fucking business. You are unique and you have unique gifts. And I bet that you have a special way of sharing those gifts with the world. And I think that is important to become aware of and to know about yourself, and the right people, the right community, the right support will help you see that if you can't see it in yourself, and they will help you find the way that it is that's best for you to share and deliver your message and your gifts with the world. So yet another lesson learned, to take people at face value because they will show you who they are. And if something feels forced, if it's sucking the life out of you, then why are you doing it? I want you to get curious. I want you to ask yourself, why? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing it this particular way? What would make it better? Is there a different way that I could be doing this to get the same result? And to relate this to your physical health, because we are so good at ignoring what our body is telling us. If you've been following me on TikTok, it's Coach Abby O'Sullivan. I've been doing a series of TikToks called 30 Things That I've Learned About Loving My Body in My 30s. These are all real. These are all actual lessons that I've learned. And I posted one just recently about ignoring physical symptoms and that it doesn't make them go away. So if you've been ignoring the guilt that you feel after eating off plan, or like why you can't stick to the plan when you really don't want to, if you've been ignoring any of that, it's the same thing. So we could have physical symptoms that we're ignoring, like when I had skin rashes, like eczema. If you've been constipated for a week or two or three or your life, if you've been having diarrhea for a week or two or your life, if you've been feeling really abnormally tired, if you've been feeling very anxious lately, like if there's been a shift, or if you've had more serious physical symptoms and you're ignoring that, this will not make the problem go away. You actually do have to address them at some point before it becomes really serious. And it's the same thing with the more mental/emotional side of all of this. So if you've been ignoring that you feel really bad when you step on the scale, if you just kind of go through that and you let it affect your day and then you sort of push it aside and you keep going, Or if you're feeling really bad, guilty, or shameful after you eat a lot of cookies and you just kind of go to sleep, push it aside, just ignore those feelings. These are patterns. These are the same type of patterns that I've noticed for me in my life. These are the same type of patterns and triggers that I realized that I was falling into when I joined this business program. It's very similar to the patterns of diet and exercise that we have, where we feel like a failure when we go off plan, where we feel shameful when we think that we've eaten too much. It's the same thing. Where is that coming from? That's the first thing I want you to notice. Is when you feel stuck, when you're constantly bloated or sick, having skin rashes, when you are constipated, or you have major diarrhea, when you lose and gain the same weight over and over again. It's time to stop and get curious and ask those questions. And it's okay. And sometimes you need to ask for professional help. That could be a counselor, a therapist. It could be any type of coach, life coach, health coach. Why? Because you'll never move forward and your health issues could get worse if you do not stop and pay attention. When we stop paying attention, we are basically saying, I'm not worth it. I'd rather feel like shit than figure this out in order to feel better. I'd rather feel like shit and keep doing this to myself rather than figure it out and heal and feel better. I'd rather stay stuck than understand what's going on and what's holding me back. I'd rather stay stuck than understand what's holding me back. This is what we are telling ourselves when we refuse to pay attention to the patterns and the triggers that come up. We think that it's normal and that we should just live with it and we should just put our big girl panties on, brand new day tomorrow. Suck it up, buttercup, right? Actually, no, you don't have to do that. You don't have to ignore what's going on, and you shouldn't ignore what's going on because eventually you'll just find yourself crying. Oh, that makes me sad. You'll just find yourself crying on the couch like me with really high anxiety and an inability to move forward with my life. It's not actually funny. So I know that you want more for you. I know that I want more for you. I know that I wanted more for myself, and I could not go on facing these challenges and feeling so triggered. I just couldn't. I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm never going to make it through an entire year if I don't figure out what the fuck is going on. And it led me to connecting with a wonderful, wonderful group of women and a coach that sees the big picture. And she sees in me what I have forgotten to see in myself, what I've neglected to see in myself. And I am the only person that can validate myself. You know, if I don't believe in me, it doesn't matter if anyone else does, but I'm not going to lie and say that it's not nice. It is nice. Sometimes you need someone to shine the light on that path for you and just show you the way. You need the right person to do that for you, that's for sure. But again, we got to listen to our bodies a little bit, right? We got to listen to our gut. What is your body telling you? What does your intuition say? This whole experience led me to creating something that my heart has been, this has been exactly what I wanted to create. I don't love the superficial. I like to get deep. And as painful as it can be for some people, probably all people, it is so important and so empowering because when you become aware, you can take back the control. When you become aware, you now have the choice in how you respond rather than react. Where you go from there, where you need to go from there, that's to be said. That's on an individual basis, right? But when you become aware, you can take back the power over what that situation is seeing. And that's been a phrase that's been rolling around in my head lately. As I've learned more about myself and more about my limiting beliefs and the stories and the shame and the guilt that I've had, it's allowed me to come into a place of self-acceptance and more love for myself. And I don't have to, regardless of this shift that's happening and this clarity that I have, that maddening clarity, could be very frustrating. And actually, it is frustrating. I'm not going to deny that it is frustrating, but I choose not to live in a headspace where I'm telling myself I'm a failure and I'm telling myself that I'm stupid, because what's that going to do for me? What's that going to do for me? And now that I have all of these tools and this different way of navigating these situations and the mindset work and the experience, this isn't the first time that this has happened to me. This isn't the first time that I didn't see someone for who they are. Or, well, I did. And then I chose to ignore it. This is not the first time that this has happened to me. It's just another big fucking lesson. And now I have to really learn. I have to learn, and I have to listen in when I'm feeling that, But it doesn't mean that I'm any less worthy. It doesn't mean that I'm any less capable or that I'm not worthy of success and of love and of anything that I desire in my life. That wasn't something that I was telling myself a few years ago. I was telling myself that I was stupid and that I was a failure. Even though I inherently know that I'm not, that's what happens, and we get stuck in those patterns. So all of my experiences in the last 10 years have brought me to this place where I have so much more knowledge and awareness, and being supported by this new coach and that community and my community in general. I've found what I wanted to create for others. I'm not trying to fit a mold or create something that someone else thinks I should. This is all based on what is it that I can share and what is in alignment for me. It's just like how I navigate my nutrition and my fitness now. Yes, all of these things are lessons that you can apply to different areas throughout your life. I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but I want you to see the links here. Because if you can learn how to be aware and tune into your body, then you can better serve yourself. You just have to have a little bit of education there. You have to kind of know what your options are, right? Sometimes we need a little help being made aware of that. We need to know what the tools are. It's just like in creating this coaching program in my business. I can listen to myself and what is it that I can share? What is it that I truly want to share so that I can help others through this same process? So I have to listen to myself on that. When we are able to dig in and do the work to figure out, number one, where is all that confusion and all that guilt and all that shame coming from? Where's that coming from? And then when we learn how to heal that, and when we learn how to regulate our nervous system response, because that's what's happening, it keeps you safe, but it's not always serving you anymore. That safety response sometimes is actually holding you back, and it's creating that pattern that you see where you're stuck. When we can get past that, and then we learn the things that we can do for ourselves, when you're learning what stress relief techniques do you like? What works well for you? Because it might not be the same for me. You might prefer something else. What nutrition style works best for you? And that can be as detailed as macros. Like, that's an individual thing. Yeah, there are like going to be some people that need generally the same amount, but everyone's goals are different. Everyone's lifestyles are different. So you've got to find the thing that works for you. You don't have to fit into a particular diet. You don't have to fit into, a particular challenge or diet way, tactic, whatever you might call it. There can be something that works just for you. And it's the same with exercise. Some people like to move their body in different ways. Like I will always recommend some form of resistance / strength training because it's so fucking beneficial to your body. But there are different ways to go about that. And that's where you need to just know what's best for you. And again, this is why you just sometimes need a coach, someone to shine the light on the path and show you what's available so that you can find what works best for you, because that's when it becomes sustainable and that's when it becomes a lifestyle. And there's no more on and off cycles. There's no more self-sabotage. We've gotten rid of the fucking limiting belief stories, all the shit that we tell ourselves that if we fall off plan, then we suck and we failed again, because that's what we do. That's just who I am. I just don't stick to the plan. That's just who I am. Yeah, sure, there are some like personality traits where you might like a little more variety in your life, but whenever you know that about yourself, when you become aware of it, you can use it to your advantage. Like, just see what I'm saying here. When you become aware, you have the power to respond in a different way. So it's not just who you are. You can always change and evolve. You're totally doing that all the time. So when we get rid of all that limiting shit that we're telling ourselves, when we have the education and we know why and we understand why we're supposed to eat protein and we understand like what the fuck all this restriction is doing to our metabolism, when we understand what stress, constant stress and anxiety, what kind of effects it's having on our body, on our hormones, on our sleep, on our weight, on how we feel every single day, on our brains, then we can move forward and we can apply the knowledge that we've now gained and create that healthy lifestyle that you're looking for without all the jumping on and off. It doesn't feel like that anymore. It feels like seasons of life, and you're going to be able to navigate it because you know exactly what you need to do to keep yourself grounded. So that's my take on listening to your body, listening to your gut. There's so many other stories and examples of that. And I know that you have them too. I know that you've felt that inkling and you've had that nudge. And listen to it. Listen to it more. Listen to your body. Is it telling you you're hungry or is it telling you you're thirsty? Like, these are things that we have to start to ask ourselves. If you're feeling like you're in pain, like, what can you do about that? Are we just going to ignore it until we have to go to the doctor, until we have to go to the chiropractor? Is there something that I could be doing right now to help myself? So all of these questions, you can ask it. This is how you learn to trust yourself, how to trust your body, how to trust your intuition. It's by checking in. It's by tuning in instead of constantly tuning the fuck out. And with that said, I have been talking about this for half the episode, that I am creating a new coaching program that I'm so excited about, so very excited to share with you. And if self-acceptance, if ditching the fucking cycles of all in, all out dieting, if you are tired of starting over again and again and again, if you're tired of feeling guilty about that, this is for you. I created this for you. This is the last 10 years, 10, 11 years of my life put into something that I can share with you to help you move past, heal the wounds, get rid of the self-sabotage. We don't need that shit anymore. Bye-bye, bitch. And create that healthy lifestyle that you want. Optimize your body for your lifestyle. Get that body right. It's to get that body right. I'd like to invite you to have a chat with me. You can set up a free call with me to talk about where you are right now, where you would like to be, and figure out what's holding you back. The link is in the show notes. All you have to do is click it and find the right time for you. And I can't wait to talk to you. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to hang out with me today. Don't take any shit from anyone. Don't let anybody put you in a box because you don't belong there. I will see you next week. Thank you for tuning into the Crushing with Avio podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, go ahead and subscribe or follow. And please leave a 5-star review while you're there. Share this podcast with any of your girl or guy friends that you know could use an extra laugh once a week. You can also find me on Instagram at avio.fit. That's ABBYO.fit. Talk soon.